Hello there, I'm Nathalia Melo, your unfiltered fit BFF, mom of two turned CEO of a fitness empire. Someone who understands the struggles of trying to stay fit, sane, and sexy, all while juggling work, life, and motherhood. And this is the Unfiltered Fit Life podcast. Follow along wherever you're listening and join me weekly as I help busy working moms just like you simplify their fitness journey so they can lose weight, regain their confidence, and feel sexy AF. It's time to stop living in the what ifs and hiding from the cameras. It's time to regain control over your body, feel sexy naked, and wear a bikini confidently. People already see you as a super confident woman, but it's time for you to feel the same way too. Let's go. Hello there. Welcome to another episode of the Unfiltered Fit Life podcast. This is your host, Nathalia Melo, and today we are going to be talking about a topic that is very relevant to right now. You know, we're in the middle of the summer break, kids being off school, you have vacation and you have a lot of traveling and you have all of that. And there are a lot of things that I'm seeing with conversations that I'm having there are opening my eyes. And the reason I decided to do this podcast today, which is going to be on the 3 reasons why people struggle to stay on track with their health and fitness when they are in a summer break, on vacation. What triggered me to do this after several conversations was when I was scrolling through my own Facebook account. Whenever we go somewhere, I always post my photos on Facebook and I create albums on my personal Facebook because I like to have that to look back to. And I love when I get reminded of a memory or things like that. So I was scrolling through, and my husband and I, we have always loved traveling. Roger and I, the first time that he came to visit me in Florida, we went to Mexico. And then the following year, where did we go? We went to Italy. And then the year after that, we went to Thailand. So we have been to quite a few places as a couple, and a lot of them were tropical places because we always traveled around the June time because that's basically the only time that a rugby player gets to travel and have a life. As many of you know, Roger was a professional rugby player. So our life was very much dictated by the rugby season. Anyway. So when I was scrolling through my albums and photos, I realized the pattern. I could not find any photos of myself in a swimming suit from many of those trips that I've done with Roger. You could find pictures of me in clothes, but you wouldn't find pictures of me in a bikini. And I know why that was. Actually, I'm lying. There was one picture from when we went to Italy. We went to the Amalfi Coast, and then we were in the Blue Grotto, and then somebody offered to take a photo of us. And it's literally me and Roger sitting down, and I had my bathing suits, not even standing up, and I'm like literally covering my whole belly, like I'm trying to hide something. You can clearly see it. And I remember very vividly that as I looked at that photo, I was like, oh my goodness, I need to stop eating it. You're in Italy. Is that really the first thing that is going to come to your mind, that you need to stop eating and that you need to stop doing this? So, and this was at the time that I was competing, where that very on and off season mentality existed, that it was like, oh, you're either 100% in and then, or you're like a free for all kind of deal. There was no balance at all. And that's something that I see a lot of people struggling with. So what are the 3 reasons why people struggle to stay on track with their health and fitness on vacation or during the summer breaks? And a lot of the things that I'm going to talk about might even be applicable to whenever we're talking about the holiday season and things like that. Although the holiday season is not as long as the summer. So I do believe that a lot of the things that we're going to talk about can still be applicable to the holiday season. But I'm going to use a lot of more summary examples because that is something that I'm seeing a lot now. And I'm going to give you some suggestions on how to overcome that as well. So I'm not just going to tell you the problems. I'm going to give you solutions as well and some food for thought on how you can slowly change a few things and then hopefully get to a place where it doesn't even come to mind whenever you are having a good time with your family. So the first reason why I believe that people struggle to stay on track with their health and fitness on vacation or during a summer break is because we have a very big on and off mindset. Everything is like, oh, I'm going to do a 4-week challenge. There is a start and an end date. And it's like, okay, I am going to start on, like, let's say March, and then they over restrict themselves for like 4 weeks. And then at the end of March, it's like, okay, I've already spent 4 weeks eating nothing but lettuce and ice cubes, and I've done everything perfectly, and I wasn't allowed to eat anything. So now you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to reward myself with food. And then just becomes this never ending cycle of, oh, I'm 100%, I'm on a diet, I'm on track, I'm on this. And then it's like off, that all or nothing mentality. And it's like, oh, I'm going to do this thing for like 3 months and I'm going to look great for my vacation. And then on the vacation, I'm going to go completely off the rails. This mindset is incredibly detrimental, not only for your perception of your body image, but also from a healthy standpoint as well. And I find it interesting because sometimes I will speak with people, they're like, oh, yeah, no, that diet completely worked, whenever they're talking about something incredibly restrictive. Oh, yeah, I did Optavia, for example. Trash. If somebody comes to you offering Optavia or any variable of this kind of stuff, please don't. Do not. We have several members in the Powerhouse Academy that have gained a substantial amount of weight after stopping with that. So don't. Anyway, I digress. And they're like, oh, it was great. You worked. And I'm like, okay, you worked. What do you mean by that? Oh, yeah, I lost like 30 pounds. And I'm like, oh, great. And I was like, okay, how much weight do you want to lose now? And then they're like, oh, I want to lose 35 pounds now. And I'm like, okay, like, is it a new 30 pounds? Is it in addition to the 30 pounds? Like, help me understand. And they're like, oh, it's because I did that amazing thing that worked. But then whenever I stopped, I gained all the way back. Okay. And then they're like, yeah, but it worked. And I'm like, my first question is always like, so if you worked and you gained the weight back and your goal is to lose the weight and keep it off, do you think that it worked? And you can almost see on people's face, like that face of discovery. And the reason why this is problematic is because the over restriction is very likely to lead to overconsumption whenever you have that food available in front of you. And that's what happens whenever people are like dieting to go on vacation, and then they get on vacation and it almost becomes this free for all. And the next thing you know, they're heavier than what they were before they started to diet to go on vacation. You see what I'm saying? So that's the first reason why I believe that people struggle with summer breaks, vacations, and things like that, because they just go off the rails whenever they get there and they start to feel guilty. And there is like that the mindset that comes and, oh, I already messed it up, so I'm just going to keep on messing it up until the end of time. And then it becomes that compound effect. And then you gain, let's say, 5 pounds when you're on vacation, and then you come back and you lose 2, but then it's still 3 to go. And then the holiday season comes, and then you gain 6, and then you lose 3, and then you still 3, and then 3 plus 3 is 6. And then it just starts to become that compounding effect. So getting out of the on and off mindset would be a very good first step to stop with that constant struggle. Find something that you can keep on doing regardless of what the event in your life is. Not necessarily something that is going to have a hard end date where you haven't learned anything on how to maintain what you have accomplished. Which then leads me to reason number 2 why people struggle, which is the waiting for the perfect time. This one kills me. And this one kills me because most people know that there is no such thing as a perfect time. Yet, whenever we get to the summer or the holiday season, it's like, oh, you know what? I'm going to wait until the kids go back to school. I'm going to wait until we go back from a vacation. Oh, I'm going to wait until, but hear me out here. So let's say that I'm going to go by what the Texas summer break is. So the kids got off school end of May, and then they're going to go back to school at the end of August. That's when they go back to school. So we're looking roughly at 3 months. And then they keep on waiting. Oh, I'm going to wait until the kids go back to school. So kids go back to school September 1st. They're like, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready. And then October comes and it's like, oh, but I've already spent so much money with all the school material for the kids. That's October. And then November comes and it's like, oh, but you know what? The holiday seasons are just around the corner. So I'm going to wait until the holiday season is over so I can start focus on myself. Then January 1st comes and it's like, woo, new year, new me. And then February comes, it's like, oh, but I already spent so much money on the holiday season. And I don't know if right now is the right time. I'm going to wait for the perfect time. I'm going to wait a little bit more. And then spring break comes and it just becomes that never ending cycle. Not only of waiting for the perfect time of circumstances, also waiting for the perfect time on the financial side of things. And whenever we're talking about the circumstantial one of waiting for the perfect time, this is incredibly problematic because when you're always operating from a place where everything is perfect, okay, all the stars are aligned, so I'm going to start my plan right now. Everything is perfect. What's going to happen is the moment that you have to live life, because my kids are 5 and 6. Nico is about to be 7. They still have a lot of summer breaks coming up. So summer breaks are not something they're going away at any time soon. So if I'm not preparing myself and learning how to navigate and how to stay on track with my health and fitness, with things that are going to happen regardless, how do I expect to be equipped to stay on track with my fitness goals if every time there's something that I don't perceive as perfect, the perfect time happens, I'm going to have to get off course. I'm going to have to get off the rail because I don't know how to operate when things are not quote unquote perfect. So the whole idea of waiting for the perfect time, waiting when I'm getting back from a vacation, waiting when the stars align, waiting when I'm not so busy, waiting when the kids go back to school. Okay, so you wait for the kids to get back to school, wait for the summer vacation to be over, and then the stars aligned, and then you start doing it. And then what happens when the holiday season comes? You're still not equipped to deal with life and how to navigate your fitness goals when life happens because holiday season is going to come, summer break's going to come. All these things are going to keep on happening. So you stop waiting for the perfect time and instead learn how to navigate by, you can do your own research, which is definitely going to take more time, more trial and error, hire help, but find somebody who aligns with the lifestyle that you have. If you are somebody who likes to travel and likes to, experience life with your family, you would be a bit difficult to get advice from somebody who doesn't go anywhere and doesn't have kids and doesn't necessarily understand the challenges, doesn't work. So, and again, it can be me. Yes, I'm a coach, but it can be somebody else that have skills that you find they're valuable. But to keep on being on that same cycle where you're always waiting for the perfect time is definitely not going to get you to where you want to go. So you do have to learn how to navigate the challenges of life. Be that by doing your own research, hiring help, but really realizing that life is not going to stop happening and you're just going to have to learn how to live with the life that you have and the things that are going to keep on happening in your life. And that by learning to do that, there is going to be a benefit to the relationship that you have with your body, with food, with health and fitness without extremes. So that's reason number 2. And reason number three, it's really piggybacking on what I kind of mentioned on reason number two, which is not having a plan that aligns with where you are right now. And this is something that I find it very interesting is a lot of the ladies that reach out to me have been somewhat involved in the fitness space, or they have tried several diets that were very restrictive. And in the past, it was a possibility for them because maybe they didn't have a lot of responsibilities. So it was easy to eat out of a Ziploc bag, to spend hours in the gym, to try to overcompensate what they perceive as a quote unquote bad meal with extra cardio, which I'm going to say right now, that's not the way to do it. But that is the mindset that quote unquote worked for the life that they had then. And then they keep on trying to replicate what they did then now. Maybe back then they didn't travel as much. Maybe back then it was a different type of traveling. Maybe they didn't have kids. So they could still go to the gym and spend hours in the gym, even whenever they were traveling. And they could make all the decisions as to what the meals were going to look like. When you have a family, it is a bit of a different dynamic. So they keep on trying to repeat what worked for a different season of life that they had. And then they keep on failing, not because it's their fault, but just because they are using a plan that no longer serves the stage of life that they are right now. And that's, I think, what takes a big toll on many women's confidence in themselves and belief in themselves. They're like, oh my goodness, I'm such a failure. Like, why can't I do this? Is it my hormones? Is it this? Is it that? Well, it could be the hormones. It could be this. It could be that. But it could also be that you're using a strategy that does not align with the life that you have right now. Like, I'm going to use myself as an example. When I was competing around the time that I won the Olympia, for me to travel, it was an event. I had to be completely off season. I had to have no shows coming up because if he was around when I was about to compete, I wouldn't go anywhere because I didn't know how to navigate life with that strenuous regimen that was required for me to compete at the level that I competed. So if I had to replicate the strategies that I used when I won the biggest bodybuilding competition in the world, the Olympia, for this stage of life that I'm in right now, as a mom of two, a wife, a business owner of one business, is starting a second business. I work about 10 hours a day, 11 hours a day, some days, 12 hours a day, many days. There is no way that I would be able to stay consistent with that strategy from back then, with the life that I have now, with the traveling that we do as a family as well. So that strategy no longer serves the person who I am today. And that's where I feel like so many people struggle so much with staying on track, not only in the summer, but also, in the many other seasons of the year, because they keep on trying to apply a plan, a strategy that doesn't serve the life that they have at this moment in time. And then it comes, oh, I know what to do. I'm just not doing it. Do you though? Do you? And I don't mean this in a attacking way, because after I had my kids, I also didn't know what to do. I struggled to, find what was working for me. I hired help. I understood that I didn't know what to do and that I needed to learn what that new season of life, that new body that I had required from me. And that has evolved as well, because as my kids started to get older, as my business started to grow, as our team started to grow, what worked when my kids were a baby no longer work now, because now we're also in a different season of life. It really grinds my gears when people are like, oh, I know what to do. I'm just not doing it. And I'm going to go on a tangent here. I just think that is a great level of lack of self-awareness to not understand that even the greatest athletes in the world don't know everything, and they're willing to ask for help so they can improve on the things that they don't know. Because the reality is that most people who say, I know what to do, I'm just not doing it, if they really knew what to do these people really enjoy, not being able to, not feeling comfortable to take photos with their kids? Do they really enjoy not wearing the clothes that they want to really wear because they are not happy with how they look? And I understand that there is a perception of, I know what to do. And yes, and maybe you knew what to do for the person that you were 10 years ago, not for the person that you are now. So these are really the three main reasons why I believe that so many people struggle with staying on track with their health and fitness goals during on vacation or during their summer break. I'm going to do a quick recap here. The on and off mindset, the all or nothing, like, oh, I'm all in and I'm going to eat nothing but lettuce and ice cubes. And then whenever I'm off, I'm completely off the rails. And then they go on vacation and it's like completely off the rails. And then they come back and they don't understand what happened. We need to find a balance on that on and off, all or nothing mindset, because otherwise the cycle is never going to end. You're going to lose 300 pounds, but it's going to be 30 pounds 10 times. Is that what you want? So just some food for thought there. The other one is waiting for the perfect time. I'm telling you, man, no such thing as perfect time. No such thing as perfect time, because if you're always waiting for the perfect time, imagine that planes only took off when the sky is blue, it's clear. Okay, we need to wait for the perfect conditions. There's not one cloud in the sky. Even under the perfect conditions, there still can be something that is like, ha, cute, you weren't ready for this. And then it's just like a wind that comes and pushes the plane off track. So there's only so much perfection that you can aim and wait for, understanding that by only learning how to navigate the waters or to fly the plane under perfect conditions is not going to give you the skill set to do the things that you need to do when that specific situation comes again. Like I said prior, summer is going to keep on happening unless you die. It's always going to be summer. There's always going to be Christmas and Thanksgiving and all that kind of stuff. So if you do not know and do not prepare yourself to navigate that, you're going to be on that constant cycle over and over again. And then the third and last thing is not having a plan that aligns with the life that you have right now. I used myself as an example with the Olympia. I wouldn't go in many vacations when I was prepping for shows. I wouldn't travel anywhere. So that strategy that I used then doesn't align with the life that I have now. I don't have 4 or 5 hours to spend in the gym. I don't want to spend 4 or 5 hours in the gym. I don't want to eat out of a Ziploc bag. I don't want to not be able to go on a vacation and have an ice cream with my kids without obsessing if I'm going to gain half a pound the next day. I don't want that. So I had to learn and I had to get help to find a plan that aligned with the life that I have right now. The life that I have right now, I work 50, 60 hours a week. The life that I have right now, I have 2 kids. The life that I have right now, I have a husband. The life that I have right now, we like to go on vacation. We like to travel. We have kids' birthday parties. I like to have wine. So just because something worked then, it doesn't mean that it's going to work now. And understanding that, and also being very specific on what you mean by quote unquote worked. Losing weight and gaining weight, do you call that working? Having something so extreme that you're not able to live life, and the moment that you're off of it, you just go off the rails. Do you call that working? So I really think that is about you finding the definition, what work or working from a nutrition standpoint and fitness routine standpoint looks like for you. So these are the three main reasons. And thank you so much for listening to the podcast. And I just want to add something here, you guys. We are killing it on the podcast. The downloads have been amazing. I just want to say a huge thanks for all of you that have shared this podcast with a friend. Keep on sharing. That's the way that you can pay me back. I don't want any money from you, at least not for right now. Maybe in the future, we start like a Patreon or something like that. But for right now, we're good. Just kidding. So please share with your friends, share on social, tag me. I love hearing what are the episodes that you gravitate towards. If you like more the ones where I have guests or you like the ones where I just chat to you guys. Thanks so much for listening, and I will see you next week. Bye bye. Thank you so much for tuning in this week. But let me ask you, what was your aha moment in today's episode? I would love to know. You can leave me a comment or voice message at the link in the show description. You can also follow me on Instagram and let me know what topics you want to hear more about or who I should have on the show. As for today, this is it for today, guys. I'll see you back next week for another episode of the Unfiltered Fit Life podcast.